Imagine this. It is the summer of 1995. A 17-year-old kid from California is holding two offers in his hands. One is a college football scholarship. The other is a professional baseball contract from the Montreal Expos. He chooses football. And the world almost never hears the name Tom Brady. Because what comes next is not a fairy tale. It is something far more interesting. It is the story of a kid who was told, in writing, that he was not good enough, and who spent the next 23 years making everyone who said that deeply regret it. Stay with me, because the best parts are coming. San Mateo, California, 1977. Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. is born into a family that breathes sports. His father works in insurance, his mother keeps the home. And his three older sisters, Maureen, Nancy, and Julie, play every sport imaginable: softball, soccer, basketball. The Brady household is not quiet. It is competitive, loud, and filled with the kind of love that shows up on a playing field. Tom is the youngest, the only boy, and from the very beginning, he is chasing something. As a small child, Brady's family takes him to Candlestick Park, the legendary stadium in San Francisco where the 49ers play. He sits in those stands and watches a quarterback named Joe Montana move like he owns the entire universe. Montana is calm. Montana is precise. Montana wins. And a little boy in the crowd decides, without fully understanding what that decision means, that one day he wants to be that. What makes this detail so powerful is the irony hiding inside it. Tom Brady would go on to win more Super Bowls than Joe Montana. He would eventually surpass the man he idolized as a child. But in those early years, he is just a kid with a dream that is far too large for anyone around him to take seriously. He begins playing organized football as a freshman at Junipero Serra High School, a Catholic school for boys in San Mateo. By his junior year, he is the starting quarterback. By his senior year, college scouts and professional scouts are paying attention. But here is what almost no one talks about. Football is not even his best sport yet. He is also a star baseball player, a catcher, and the people watching him on that baseball diamond see something that the football world will take years to recognize. They see a winner. Before we get to the moment that nearly erased Tom Brady from football history forever, I want to ask you something. Who was your sports hero growing up? Drop a name in the comments. Because the answer might surprise you when you see where those early heroes lead us. Here is the fact that stops most people cold when they hear it for the first time. In the summer of 1995, the Montreal Expos, a professional baseball organization, select Tom Brady in the 18th round of the Major League Baseball draft. They want him as a catcher. They see potential. They offer him a path directly into professional sports without a single day of college. Tom Brady says no. He chooses the University of Michigan and a football scholarship instead. Now pause for a moment and let that sink in. The same scouts, the same professional evaluators, the same industry that would later hand him a 6th-round draft card and question whether he could even throw a tight spiral. That same world had already recognized something in him years earlier through a completely different sport. Baseball saw Tom Brady before football did. And this is not a small detail. This is the entire foundation of who Brady is. Because the choice he makes in 1995 is not just a career decision. It is a declaration of identity. It says, I am not going to take the easy path. I am going to earn the hard one. At Michigan, Brady arrives with a scholarship and zero guarantees. He is not the star recruit. He is not the highly anticipated prospect. He is one quarterback among many, and the competition is fierce from the very first day. But think about what he has already proven by simply showing up. He walked away from a professional contract, from money, from certainty, from a clear road forward because he believed in something that no one else could yet see. That is not stubbornness. That is a specific kind of faith in yourself that most people never develop. Brady would later say that he always believed if someone simply put him on the field, they would never want to take him off. That belief did not come from trophies. It did not come from statistics. It came from somewhere deeper, from a kid who sat in the stands watching Joe Montana and decided that the distance between where he was and where he wanted to be was not an obstacle. It was just a road, and he was willing to walk every single mile of it. What happens next at the University of Michigan is the chapter that most people skip, and it is the most important chapter in the entire story. When Brady arrives in Ann Arbor, he is not starting. He is not even close to starting. He is the 7th string quarterback. 7th. That means 6 other players are ahead of him on the depth chart. He practices, he waits, he watches other people play the position he has dedicated his life to. For 3 years, this is his reality. Then, finally, he fights his way to the top. He becomes the starting quarterback. He earns it through sheer persistence. And then the university makes a decision that nearly breaks him. His head coach, Lloyd Carr, announces publicly that a new recruit named Drew Henson is, in his words, the most talented quarterback he has ever worked with. The plan is to split playing time between Brady and Henson. Brady starts, Henson comes in. The hot hand finishes the game. In a September 1999 matchup against Syracuse, Brady starts the game. At halftime, the coaches send Henson out instead. Brady stands on the sideline. His team wins without him. Brady described what he felt in that moment with unusual honesty. He said he was disappointed, frustrated, and embarrassed. He said that if it had happened a few years earlier, he might have collapsed under the weight of it. But he did not collapse. He waited, he watched, and when the 2-quarterback experiment began to fall apart when Michigan lost to Michigan State, when the Illinois game unraveled, the coaches finally named Brady the permanent starter for the rest of the season. He responded by going out and breaking the Orange Bowl record with 34 completions from 46 attempts for 369 yards and 4 touchdowns. The message was not subtle. Years later, Brady reflected on this period and said something that reveals exactly why he became who he became. He said he realized he could not control whether the coaches trusted him, but he could control his preparation, he could control his attitude, and he could control what he did the moment they finally handed him the ball. I want to ask you something personal. Has there ever been a moment in your own life when someone doubted you, passed you over, or told you that someone else was more talented? Think about that moment. Because what Brady does next with that exact feeling is the entire reason we are still talking about him today. The year is 2000. Tom Brady is 22 years old and standing in Indianapolis at the NFL Scouting Combine, the annual event where college players perform physical tests in front of every professional team in the league. What happens there will follow Brady for the rest of his career. He runs the 40-yard dash in 5.28 seconds. That is one of the slowest times ever recorded for a quarterback at the Combine. It places him in roughly the bottom 1% among all quarterbacks who have ever participated in the event. A photograph is taken of Brady that day. He is thin, he looks pale, he looks, as one writer later noted, like someone who should be writing about professional sports rather than playing them. The official scouting report on Brady reads as follows, and these are real words from a real document. Poor build, lacks great physical stature and strength, lacks mobility, lacks a really strong arm, cannot drive the ball downfield, does not throw a tight spiral, system-type player who can be exposed, gets knocked down easily. 6 quarterbacks are selected before Brady in the 2000 NFL Draft. He waits at his parents' home as pick after pick is announced for someone else. He sits there losing confidence with each name that is not his. Finally, in the 6th round, with the 199th overall selection, the New England Patriots call his name. 198 players are considered better options. Now here's the part that reveals everything about Tom Brady's character. 21 years later, on the anniversary of that combine photo, Brady posted on social media with a caption that says simply, "Still gets me fired up." Not laughing it off, not pretending it did not hurt, still fired up, still using it. And in a public appearance in Las Vegas years after his retirement, Brady addresses the scouts who passed on him directly. He calls them, with a perfectly measured tone, real geniuses for letting the greatest quarterback in league history fall to pick 199. The crowd laughs, Brady smiles, but everyone in that room knows the truth. He meant every word. That photograph that was supposed to represent his limitations became the fuel that powered one of the greatest careers in the history of professional sports. The lowest drafted quarterback in NFL history would go on to throw more touchdown passes than anyone who has ever played the game. September 11th, 2001, New England Patriots quarterback Drew Bledsoe takes a violent hit from New York Jets linebacker Mo Lewis. The injury is severe. Bledsoe is rushed to the hospital with a sheared blood vessel. His season is over. Tom Brady walks onto the field, and he never walks off as a backup again. What follows is one of the most remarkable rises in the history of professional sports. Brady is not supposed to be the answer. He is the 6th-round afterthought, the slow kid from the combine, the system quarterback who cannot drive the ball downfield. But from the moment he takes over, something shifts. He does not play like a sixth-round pick. He plays like someone who has been waiting for this moment for his entire life, because he has. The Patriots win game after game. They finish the regular season and enter the playoffs, and they reach Super Bowl 36 against the Street. Louis Rams, a team so dominant that they are nicknamed the greatest show on turf. New England is a heavy underdog. No one outside the Patriots locker room believes they can win. With less than 2 minutes remaining and the game tied at 17, Brady takes the field. The Patriots have no timeouts. The legendary broadcaster John Madden tells the national television audience that New England should simply run out the clock and play for overtime. Brady does not play for overtime. He moves his offense methodically down the field. He is calm, he is precise. He stops the clock at the Rams' 30-yard line with 7 seconds remaining. The field goal goes through. The Patriots win. Brady becomes, at 24 years old, the youngest quarterback in NFL history to win a Super Bowl at that time. But here is the detail that almost no one talks about. The morning after that championship, Drew Bledsoe, the man Brady replaced, the man who watched his career change course through no fault of his own, rides a ski lift alone in Montana. He puts on his helmet and his goggles. He sits by himself, and he cries. Later, Brady speaks about what Bledsoe gave him without ever being asked. Brady says that watching Drew go through that taught him something permanent about the sport. He says there is nothing you can accomplish in football without everyone around you. Not the plays, not the wins, nothing. That is not what most champions say after their first title. That is what a leader says. February 5th, 2017, Houston, Texas, Super Bowl 51. Before we talk about the game, you need to know what is happening off the field, because the score on the scoreboard is only half the story. The entire 2016 season has been the hardest of Brady's life. He serves a 4-game suspension after a prolonged dispute with the NFL over allegations regarding football equipment. 3 federal judges uphold the suspension. Brady eventually stops fighting the process, and people close to him say privately that a large part of the reason is his mother. Her name is Galen Brady, and she has been diagnosed simultaneously with breast cancer and a blood cancer called myeloma. The entire Brady family keeps this information private throughout the season. While Brady is being criticized publicly, while the suspension plays out in courtrooms and headlines, he is also traveling as often as possible to be with his mother. He says during this period that the time away from football gives him perspective. He says he realizes that being with his family during a vulnerable time is what matters most. His mother does not attend a single regular season game that year. His father attends just one. The treatment is ongoing. The uncertainty is constant. Then the Patriots reach Super Bowl 51. Galen Brady makes the trip to Houston. It is the first game she attends all season. New England Patriots owner Robert Kraft speaks to Brady in the locker room before the game. He says, "We have to win this one for your mother, because she has been through chemotherapy and radiation, and this is the first game she has been able to come to." The game begins, and it becomes a disaster. By the third quarter, the Atlanta Falcons lead 28-3. No team in Super Bowl history has ever overcome a deficit that large. Commentators begin writing the closing paragraphs of what they expect will be Brady's worst performance on the biggest stage. Wide receiver Julian Edelman tells Brady and the offensive coordinator quietly that he believes they are going to come back. He says it will be a remarkable story. What happens next is the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history. New England scores 25 unanswered points to tie the game. They win in overtime. Brady completes 43 of 62 passes for 466 yards. He breaks the Super Bowl records for completions, attempts, and passing yards all in a single game. But the moment that defines the night is not a statistic. After the final whistle, Brady finds his mother in the crowd. Galen Brady is wearing a head covering from her treatments. And her son, the man who just led the greatest comeback in championship history, holds her and cries. Brady says later, after the game, giving her a hug, with my dad and everyone in tears, it was just a really emotional time. If there is someone in your life you would dedicate a moment like that to, drop their name in the comments below. This one is for them. February 1st, 2022. Tom Brady announces his retirement from professional football. He is 44 years old. He has 7 championship rings. He holds the records for career passing yards, career touchdown passes, and quarterback wins. There is nothing left to prove. 40 days later, he reverses the decision. He says he has unfinished business. he returns to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for a 23rd season in the league. And this single choice made in the span of 40 days sets in motion the final and most painful chapter of his life as a public figure. His marriage to Brazilian model Gisele Bündchen, which has lasted 13 years, does not survive the reversal. Gisele had supported the retirement publicly and warmly. When Brady undoes it, the tension that has been building for years reaches a breaking point. In October of 2022, the couple finalizes their divorce. In one of the most honest interviews of his post-retirement life, Brady sits with broadcaster Colin Cowherd and does not hide from the question. He says his final season was tough. He says he was going through a personal family situation. He says it took a great deal out of him in terms of his ability to play. That season, the Buccaneers finished with a record of 8 wins and 9 losses. It is the first losing season of Brady's entire professional career. Off the field, Brady lives by a set of habits that the world finds equal parts admirable and bewildering. He follows a strict personal nutrition plan that eliminates most processed foods and relies heavily on vegetables, lean protein, and specific preparation methods. He owns 3 food dehydrators. He makes his own granola. He is so committed to this approach that some teammates once compared the culture around it to a dedicated community with very strict beliefs. And yet, when asked in a personal interview what food he absolutely cannot live without, Brady does not say anything from his strict plan. He says chocolate ice cream, chocolate lava cake. He says he is sorry, but he is completely devoted to it. That detail matters because it reminds us of something important. Behind every record and every ring, there is a person, a real one. Who gets tired, who makes hard choices, who loses things he loves, and who still somehow gets up the next morning. Go back to that summer in 1995. A 17-year-old from California is standing at a crossroads. Professional baseball on one side, an uncertain football scholarship on the other. He chooses the uncertain path. And from that single decision, everything else follows. The 7 years of being passed over and overlooked. The scouting report that said he could not throw a tight spiral. The 198th player who was considered a better option. The 3 years on the bench at Michigan. The 40 days of retirement that cost him his marriage. The tears on his mother's shoulder after the greatest comeback the sport had ever seen. None of it was supposed to happen the way it did. And that is exactly the point. Tom Brady is not a story about talent. He is a story about what happens when someone refuses to accept the version of themselves that other people have decided is the final version. Every time someone handed him a ceiling, he treated it like a floor and kept building upward. The scouting report still gets him fired up, 20 plus years later, because he never stopped needing it to. If this story moves something in you, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. And tell me in the comments, what is the one moment in your life when someone underestimated you, and what did you do about it? The next story is already waiting. See you there.